Hey, I'm your host, Tiffany Thompson, and today the Vocalist Magazine TV has the pleasure of sitting down with the singer, songwriter, and I think more recently, producer, Wayne Tennant. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to sit down and talk with you.
Okay, can you tell us about your new album that just got released on September 9th?
Yeah, it's my first full length album, 10 songs. I'm really happy to actually release it because it's been a long time coming, and rather than waiting for the right producer or the right collaborator to come and make music, I decided to take it on my own and just do it with or without a record label, and I decided to do it without a record label.
What does it require to do it on your own? Because a lot of people are striving to do this.
Um, a lot of dedication, discipline, knowing your craft, knowing how to write a good song. I mean, trying to yeah, and trying to find your own sound. And that's what it did. It took me 2 years to write, and I'm really happy with it.
Okay, it took you 2 years, and what parts of you living in Casablanca helped write this album?
Um, I would say the culture, the hustle and bustle of Casablanca, where it's almost like two worlds kind of coming at a crossroads because they're in transition. And there's a lot of Western culture that's starting to infiltrate their culture. So they're trying to be hip to what's going on with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the music. At the same time, there's a lot of traditional sounds that are still there, and I couldn't escape it, and it influenced my sound. So, late nights of, after doing corporate shows and just sitting down and hearing what was going on, the rhythms and the people, the language and everything like that. And it just kind of like found its way into my music. And,
Absolutely.
yes.
And being in that culture, it definitely had an influence. But you were born in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Does that have an influence on your music as well?
It's always had an influence on my music. Growing up with the sounds of Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and, all those greats, really lended itself to my music, whether consciously or subconsciously. It found its way, so it's always been there.
But you would say that your music, you can't describe it and put it into a box. Can you elaborate on that?
Because I've listened to so many different great artists of yesteryear. It's just when I go in and I make music, it's really just going in and making music. It's not necessarily making one style or the next. So it's like when I make music, there's a lot of styles that just kind of find its way into it. So it could be something in a rhythm section, that could be pop, or it could be R&B, and at the same time, I might do a vocal phrasing that's more reminiscent of something that's folk. You know what I mean. So, and somehow it's just a blend of everything. So when you hear my music, it's unique. A lot of people have said it's really unique. It's thoughtful.
I would say it's a different experience from track to track.
Yeah, yeah. It really is, and it's like myself. I have many different characters to my being, and and that's the way it is. So I'm not I'm I would say I'm three dimensional.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah, and that finds its way into the music. So
And we've covered the culture that has had influence on your music, but what about artists specifically? Who has influenced your
big
sound?
time. I mean, I'll name off the obvious ones like Stevie Wonder, Prince, Michael Jackson, but there are a lot of eclectic artists that I've been paying attention to for years. One, his name is Van Hunt. He's been involved in the careers of people like Brandy, but when you listen to his music, it's not even commercial. It's artist to artist. It's so underground and it's so eclectic and it's so fresh. So I've been paying attention to him a lot. Another artist that I've been paying attention to, his name is Sun Little. He's from the U.S. There's this new guy named Rory. So I tend to go against, yeah, Rory, yeah. So, and you know, I like some things from Miguel also. He just kind of pushes the envelope, and he just goes left, and I like that. And I've always appreciated artists like that.
I went to one of Miguel's shows and he just takes over the stage. And like I've seen your performances too on stage, and it's just like you just capture everyone with your energy. Like, what does it take to be such a good and skilled performer?
Be authentic, be in the moment, um, and be one with the music. I think that's the basic thing. And I think once you become one with the music, man, it takes over and it turns into something that's even bigger than you. And so after every performance, I'm completely exhausted, and it's hard to even talk to people because it's like when you do a show, people take a lot from you, especially if they're really enjoying and digging what you're doing. So it's like you have to recharge yourself. You know what I mean? But I don't complain. I love doing it. I love performing. So.
Okay. At the Vocalist magazine, we try to figure out like an artist's secret weapon into making it in the industry. What would you consider to be your secret weapon?
My secret weapon, I think, right now, and is authenticity. It's being unique and just being myself. I think that's what it is, um, and timing.
What do you mean about timing?
You know, man, you can have the best music out there, but if you're not knocking on the right doors and getting the attention that whatever your work deserves, it might as well be falling on deaf ears. And I think it's just surrounding yourself with the right people. I'm still trying to do that right now, trying to find the right people to talk to in terms of getting my career to the next level. And I think that's what it is. It's being yourself and also timing.
And what other challenges have you faced being an artist in this difficult music industry?
What are the challenges? I think one of the main challenges is the fact that you're dealing with an industry right now that's trying to redefine itself, and artists like myself who are up and coming or who've been doing this for a long time but want to kind of like rise above the tide. Um, I think just keeping up with all the technology, and whether it be in production, but I would say mostly in getting yourself heard, and letting go of the traditional ways of what I remember of making and trying to make it, and getting used to the fact that now it's a do-it-yourself type of society that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And you have to do everything. You have to wear so many hats, literally. You have to wear so many hats, and that's I find it very frustrating, but at the same time liberating, and it gives me even more of a push to succeed. You know what I mean? Because there are a lot of artists out there that are not really, and that's subjective, that are not really, they're not really talented. Not to say that I'm better than anybody else. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're not really doing anything groundbreaking. Yet they're doing so well. Not hating on them, but again, it's because again you've got multimedia, you've got gimmicks,
media,
social media, and you've got gimmicks. You know what I mean? For me, I'm not about the gimmicks. I'm tired of the whole reality show thing. You know?
Yeah, like you would say that like gimmicks, I guess like reality shows and stuff like that, it shows the kind of person they are, but like nowadays it takes more like persistence, it takes like not giving up, and it takes like also a bit of talent, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of talent. But you say that as you said, you're not a gimmick. Like what is a gimmick?
It could be anything from, well, the obvious one, the Kardashian. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really have anything talented. They don't have any talent, but they use their looks, and at the same time, they're, I think they're smarter than they let people on to be. but they play the dumb card, and that somehow works, which really doesn't help society in general or culture, pop culture for that matter. But it works. People pay attention.
Yeah, that's what's working on social media these days, right? It's all about the way you look and the amount of followers you have.
I mean, and how many selfies I can take of me half naked, kind of thing. That's what works, and it works. But I can't do that.
So what works for you? What are you gonna do?
Again, it's simple, real,
Being real.
real, authentic, genuine, and not jumping on the bandwagon and trying to follow somebody else.
All right, let's take it back to the album. Can you describe what your fans are going to be to expect on the album, or talk about like the spell or some of the tracks on the album?
Well, I mean, it's really. I remember my sister wrote me the other day. She got the album. She's like, "I'm so proud of you. I love it." Da 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 da. But it feels like as if you're sad, and I'm like, and I still haven't answered her yet. And for a second, I froze, and I was just like, no. If that's what she gets from it, then so be it. Because it's very introspective. It's very deep. I tried to write from a deep